But me personally, I'm just not somebody that can work a 9 to 5. There's something about going into work, having to clock in and make the next person richer that just doesn't sit right with me. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't use a 9 to 5 as a stepping stone, because that's what I did. And of course, even if I was in the position right now where I had to, I definitely would. But I feel like a 9 to 5 should be something that's used more so as a stepping stone to get you to that next level. Taking the money and the resources that you get from certain jobs and investing it in yourself, something that's going to be way more worthwhile than a paycheck. Because I know deep down inside that if I decided to settle, then I'm going to live a very long, unhappy life. And it really just depends on your personal preferences, because not everybody is meant to own a business. Not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. Some people may not want to deal with that extra stress that comes with being a business person. But I'm somebody that's willing to deal with the repercussions of starting my business and failing 100 times, rather than sitting in the office or some type of 9 to 5 where I'm just pretty much stagnant and I go there working years and years and years at a time and I'm hardly making any progress at all. As long as we're making some sort of progress, then everything will be okay. But the moment that we accept the bare minimum is when we'll get the bare minimum. Just think about it like this. And this actually happened to me not too long ago. I would probably say roughly 6, 7 months ago. But something had came up in my life where I had to work. I needed extra money, right? Nobody, I feel like not too many of us are rich, and we got a good support system where we don't have to work. So this was the case for me. And my friend applied to a job, and we both pretty much applied to the same job. And what ended up happening was their standards, were in California, so the minimum wage is, I don't know, maybe like $17. I'm really not sure. But anyways, they put their base pay as $21. That's what they wanted to start that job. And they got approved, they got accepted for that wage. And on mine, I put my base pay as $17, because I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm assuming that I need to make something close to minimum wage. If I put it as something that's too high, they're probably not going to approve it or not going to want to pay me that. So what ended up happening is we both got approved for that job, and we both eventually started working there. That person was just making more to me. And then that's when it all suddenly clicked that if you do not see the value in yourself, then nobody will. If you do not hold yourself to higher standards and expect more, then this is exactly how the world will treat you. Nobody is going to give you anything that you pretty much don't ask for, anything that you don't require. You have to make the lifestyle that you want to live a requirement and demand it from everyone around you, so that you can be held and they can be held to certain standards. But just the idea of settling has never really set right with me. The idea of clocking in for the next person and making the next person richer is not really my thing. And like I said before, if you're somebody that is content, if you're somebody that may have a family or be in a position where you kind of have to work, and that's just the path that you're choosing, that's fine. But I feel like you should always constantly be growing. You should always be constantly thinking and trying to find ways to put yourself and your family in a better position. You never want to become complacent, or you never want to become stagnant to the point where you just aren't making any progress at all. If you're making $25 an hour, your goal should be able to make 30, or to just continuously improve, so that you can make your life easier and life easier for those around you. But the funny part about this topic is I feel like growing up, majority of kids don't think like, okay, I'm just going to grow up and just work a regular 9 to 5. Usually, a lot of us have high dreams or goals that we want to reach. Some of us want to be firefighters. Some of y'all want to be police officers, whatever the case may be, something big, something great, right? And then over time, when reality hits us and life starts to life, like it does for a lot of us at some point, we then start to lower our standards and we start to accept certain things for what they are. But I say that to say that when you do reach this point where you're starting to lower your standards and falling more into the lines of acceptance, this is when you need to do the most as far as setting new standards and setting new goals for yourself, because you don't want to minimize the potential that you have, or really just sell yourself short in terms of what you should be based on life's hardships. Life is always going to be hard. it's probably going to even get harder when you start making more money or you have more responsibilities. Because even back in the day when I was dead broke, like when I really didn't have nothing, when I was starving, like times like that, I thought life was hard. But as I started to make more money, as I started to have more resources, it's like it just came with new problems. It came with just more difficulties that I really was not ready for in a sense. So always just keep that in the back of your mind that life is always going to have its complications and its problems. It's more so about your perception and how you choose to take those things in. This entire concept of not wanting to work a 9 to but this entire concept of not being able to work a 9 to 5 isn't necessarily about the idea of clocking in and clocking out for somebody else. It's more so about not selling yourself short. And if you have certain dreams or certain goals, that you should chase it by any means necessary. Utilize anything that you have, any resources, any people, anything around you that can help you get closer to that true form of happiness that you want to reach. This is what you should be seeking. Don't allow your kids, don't allow your family, don't allow your wife, anything that you may have, girlfriend, to get in the way of you continuously growing. Because what I've seen plenty of times is people will end up in a position where they have a family now, or they have a girlfriend, or they have a wife, and their wife or their girlfriend or their family just kind of pulls them away from their purpose in a sense. But you need to learn how to get those around you on board with your goals and what you want for your life. When your people around you see that you're constantly continuously building and you're trying to reach a certain point, this is going to make them respect you more. You're not giving up. You're not just settling for the bare minimum in life. You have higher goals and higher things that you want to reach, and by any means necessary, you're going to go out and get that. You have to always chase your true purpose and what you want in life, because once somebody sees that you're willing to sacrifice that, especially for something like settling, then they're automatically going to lose respect for you. And it's so crazy because just this thought of making somebody else richer while you're getting the bare minimum, just think about how much Amazon makes on a daily basis. And they pay people, pretty much minimum wage, maybe a little bit above it. But that is such a tiny portion to the overall wealth that's being built within that company. So why is it that somebody like you or whoever may be working in that type of environment is getting the bare minimum when they're actually doing the heavy work? They're actually the one building up the company and doing all the things necessary for it to grow. I don't think that nobody necessarily deserves that. I don't think that anybody should be in that position long term where they're just really making somebody else rich but not making themselves rich. If you have certain goals that you set out, you need to work on those goals and you need to build them up so that you can get to that point where you don't have to worry about working for somebody else. Like I said, it's different if you're a nurse or if you're a doctor. Those are real lifelong careers, and shout out to you. You're probably making tons and tons of money, which is fine. That's great. But I'm specifically talking about those kind of like lower class jobs, in a sense, like warehouse jobs and stuff that people just overlook, and they think that the people in those type of environments probably just aren't worth much, because that's not true. I'm somebody that spent a lot of my time working in warehouses and doing things like that, and I believe that I'm a very valuable person. It just depends all on your goals and what you have going on, because I knew that I had to work at that very moment so that I can invest in myself. It's the reason why I'm able to speak to y'all now. Certain experiences and things that I learned along the way is why I'm able to sit in front of this camera and speak openly to y'all. But one major thing that I learned about working a 9 to 5 is that the networking possibilities are crazy. If you're somebody like me that's very introverted and you don't necessarily like speaking, or you just like flying under the radar, you have to get out of your comfort zone. I'm going to tell you that right now. And this is why I say that, because if you allow yourself to branch out, I guarantee you will make your life better. If you can open your mouth and just see what other people have going on, it's going to be a lot easier for you to pair up and just put more things into effect so that you can start to open up new doors for yourself. This is like a side note, but I was at the gym the other day, and keep in mind, I'm introverted. I don't really speak to too many people, but some dude spoke up to me. He was like, "Hey man, you into clothes?" And for y'all who don't know, I actually do make clothes. I got my sewing machine right here to the left of me. It's probably y'all right, but anyways, I make clothes. So he was like, man, you make clothes? I could tell, you be in here, you be having like your nice little shirts on, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I make clothes. And pretty much he was just showing me, all the work that he's did. I guess he's a fashion designer. He has some stuff that was on like Forbes, some models and stuff like that. And it really did inspire me, and it made me realize that, just the power of the tongue, being able to vocalize yourself in a way and put yourself out there for people to see you in a certain way and understand where you're coming from is just so powerful. You have to be able to speak. So if you're in a position where you may be working a 9 to 5 and you're just kind of flying under the radar, promise me, just do yourself a big favor and start speaking to those around you. Start making friends, start utilizing what's around you, because we all know that you're probably not going to be in that position forever. You're not going to be able to clock in for everybody, or you're not going to be able to clock in for somebody else forever. You're not going to want to, if anything. So at some point in your life, you're going to move on. But while you're in this position at this very moment, then you need to use everything that you could use in order to open other doors for yourself in your life. There's just so much beauty in the struggle. What somebody considers something that's just so beneath them, let's just say, because a lot of people don't believe in working a 9 to 5. A lot of people aren't just going to go clock in at McDonald's or a regular warehouse because they just desire more, and I don't blame nobody. If that's something that you're interested in, then that's great. If not, then oh well, whatever suits you. But when you're at this position where you're technically at the bottom, you learn so much. You see a lot of like-minded individuals. You see how people treat you when you may not have nothing, or you may be in a position where it seems like you have nothing. And all of this is really just adding fuel to the fire. You use all of this negativity and even the way certain people view you to get you to that next level. I'm a firm believer in, if somebody speaks on me in a negative way, I'm just going to show you. You don't have to do much talking at this point. You just show people what you're capable of. So take everything in that you learn in those environments, that feeling that you have, a feeling like you could do more and you should be in a better place or you should be way further in life. These are things that you have to take in and really just use it to get to that next level. But if you don't give yourself the chance to even take in what's really going on around you, then you will never really reach that point of true success, or at least moving on past where you're at right now. But me personally, I just don't like the thought of having to clock in. I don't like the feeling that you get working for somebody else. I don't know what it is. I think it was after the military, after working for somebody else those years that I was in there, it really just made me feel so closed in and so small, because the military preaches how big they are on replacing you, and pretty much it's just the abundance in people and the way people are coming in and out just makes you feel less important. So that made me realize, like, man, I need to do something that makes me stand out. I need to be somebody that has significance, and wherever my presence is, I need to make sure that I'm valued and I'm needed. And pretty much that all led up to this and what y'all see today. But if you're in a position right now where you're working a 9 to 5, I would just highly suggest, if it's in you, to just invest in yourself. Build you some type of business. Start something that you're actually passionate about, even if it's not a form of entrepreneurship. Always think investments, always think growth, always think building and moving up to the next level, because you want to be able to pass down generational wealth. You don't want to just build yourself a stable life, and when you die, your kids and your family don't have nothing left or to look forward to. And that's not right. But if you made it to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you so much. It's your boy Blue Jay Tay. Drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.